yourself?
Go for it. Simon Unmasked. What will be revealed?
Nothing dramatic, I hope.
It's our first time on stage together.
I said it's just the size of my office.
It's fine. We've no audience.
Oh, the sooner they come back, the better.
I take it no one's been in here for a while?
Me and the cleaner.
A key worker. It's interesting how we're starting to look at again what people do. Start to see them differently.
Some overdue recognition.
Too right. My brother's a nurse. He'd love a pay rise now I found the magic money tree.
The weekly round of applause wasn't enough then.
He's hoping for something on top of that.
There's rainbows up in windows.
I'm wondering whether there'll be any real lasting change in attitudes.
That takes time.
If you say people are key, why not show some actions to show that we've learned to respect them?
Well, there's certainly money sloshing around.
A pay rise would be a great way to show that we've learned to value them.
Sure, but I don't expect you holding your breath.
Not yet. Anyway, down to business.
Tell me.
Helen sent me an email this morning. She's happy with the draft contract.
I like good news.
She realises she'll have to have all the provisos. They're fine. She's excited. I'm excited.
We all are. Oh, that's great news. This is another brilliant play you brought us, Camilla.
We like working with good people.
So let's get it all finalised.
Go for it.
Now, I don't know how this slipped through, I really don't, but I can't find the author's name anywhere.
The author? It's Helen.
Yeah, she did the translation. Who's the author?
Helen.
I thought this was another translation.
It's her original work, Simon.
Oh, God.
What's wrong?
I'm so sorry, I didn't realise.
What's the problem?
You must be as aware as I am. We couldn't risk the Twitter storm a play like this would raise.
I'm sure Helen thought you'd be careful when it came to casting. It might offer work to people who don't usually get it.
Before we even get to casting a play like this, people will expect the writer to be local.
Oh, Simon, don't. I think I know where this is going.
It's just such a thing at the moment.
Sure, but she lived there for a few years. She knows the country and what she's writing about.
The trolls won't know or care. To them, she is still an outsider. It's just such an issue at the moment.
This is deeply disappointing. There's me thinking, we've got another success on our hands.
So was I. I was looking forward to a powerful human story, the stark dilemmas of life when...
She is, first of all, a playwright.
Of course.
She made those translations because she knows the writers.
I know.
So how about we put that out there and tell everyone?
You can't be sure in the current climate that would be enough. The crux is, the play is her work.
You know that while she was living out there, she wrote a play which won an award.
Good for her, but how's that going to convince anyone?
The award was for her contribution to writing on national themes. That's a pretty good seal of approval, isn't it?
Camilla, I know you're doing your job, but...
That's part of it. Wow, I never thought this would come up with her play. You're making me feel bad.
Oh, don't, it's not about you.
Except it is, isn't it? Why am I promoting a play which she shouldn't have written?
Look, we had a board meeting last week. This was on the agenda. And the agreement was, well, we basically couldn't risk producing a play like this.
And you all thought that?
In light of how things are.
Was there anyone saying there might be two sides to this?
Oh, come on, I can't tell you that.
Anyone?
Don't push.
No one?
We couldn't risk stinking reviews.
Despite thinking it's a good play.
There'd be protests, graffiti, trolling. We can't risk that.
It wouldn't be the first very good play to cause controversy.
That's usually about the content.
Isn't that what you're saying?
Sorry, I think it's best we leave it.
Just a moment. When you and your readers looked at the play, did anyone say the writer has gotten these characters wrong?
Camilla, I cannot go any further with this. Please tell Helen how truly, truly sorry I am.
Hang on a moment. You like tea, don't you?
You know I do. This is a rather good Darjeeling.
It is. You'll have to tell me which particular tea garden. But first, you do yoga. Where do tea and yoga come from?
What are you getting at?
They're off limits to you. You're in there with Whistler and the Impressionists, designed to paint and draw like the Japanese.
We're talking about now. Surely you saw that row with the fashion designer with white models with the hair in cornrows?
I did, and it made me angry. Not the cornrows, but the fact there was not one black model.
Ah, in fact you agree.
That's not what I said.
Oh, come on, it's a minefield.
All the more reason not to walk away or go silent.
That's one way to look at it. The board felt this was the only way we could handle it.
And you thought I'd be one of the first to say you may not take what I consider to be mine, right?
With respect, yes.
Well, for me, it's more complicated than that. And that's why it needs to be talked about.
I see.
You're pussyfooting.
Look, I don't
To
want...
what?
Fall out!
Well, we're gonna camp on the subject. Look, you and I have always got on well. We work things out.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't look at the colour of your skin. That's...
Of course you do. I look at yours.
I mean, I hope I don't make any judgments.
So far, so good. However, you think I'd be against white people doing their hair in cornrows, right?
Seems I was wrong.
When white people do that, they invade my cultural space.
Exactly, it's about holding on to your heritage.
And when I first heard about it, there was a part of me that thought that. But when you stop and think, you realise the cornrows aren't the problem.
What I hear is people telling us that they want to be respected, like you said just now.
There's a lot more besides.
Oh, come on, you've obviously heard the things that people are saying. I don't see how you can tell me that they're wrong.
They really haven't thought it through.
Whose side are you on?
Oh, where's my Black Lives Matters t-shirt?
That's not exactly...
It's in the wash. I wore it on the weekends.
Right.
You don't know what to say, do you?
Well, yes.
Don't go fragile white on me, Simon, please.
What?
Finding all this awkward, which you do, don't you?
I guess. Sort of. It is. And I have to respect the board's position.
Make no waves. Just like the teacher at school who told me to suck it up and did nothing about the monkey charms of people putting pencils in my hair.
That's not right. The board wants
That's
to...
how it looks to me. I realise I don't know who's on your board. How diverse is it?
It's been the 5 of us for a long time.
Tell me.
3 men, 2 women. 2 are gay. Okay. All white. But you've seen our policies, the shows, the people we bring in.
So stick to those policies. You have done controversial before.
We're not going to resolve this.
I hope we are.
Are you serious?
I certainly am. Hear me out while I tell you I don't buy this. This row is about symptoms. I want to get down to the real issue.
You are going to have to come up with some truly convincing arguments to convince people.
First of all, cultural appropriation has always gone on.
Of course. Yeah. It's racism and we want to put a stop to that.
But is it? That's what we need to look into.
What are you saying?
Let's get this clear out the way. Racism is inhuman, absolute evil. People are harmed, lives are ruined in so many ways.
Of course.
It's very much a part of our society, and we need to push and act for change, right?
No argument then.
We don't even need to get into details.
Probably not.
Then similarly, we root out cultural appropriation.
Of course.
Remove it from our society, from our cultures, the same as racism.
Put a stop to it.
Meaning, you're not going to wear pajamas or do algebra, and I shouldn't wear that petite dress my friend brought me back from Bali.
No one is saying that.
How about we get rid of Othello, ban the text because the author was not black, and galleries should take down any paintings of Picasso's that was inspired by African art.
I imagine some people will want to talk about that.
The same as taking down statues of slave traders.
Of course, they were looted. The same as Picasso and the Impressionists looted ways of doing things, took something that wasn't theirs and made money from it.
Appropriation and looting mean you take something. I no longer have it. Ben and Nigeria no longer have the bronzes, but I can still do my hair in cornrows. They haven't taken that away from me.
In a way they have, surely.
I think a hairstyle is like a writer borrowing a word from another language. Lend this to me. It will enable me to do something new and innovative. When Picasso sat and looked at the masks, he said he found his way. That's what he got from them.
Look at how people viewed Africans at the time.
I do not forget or overlook that. However, my point is, Picasso said, Africans knew something which inspired his imagination to go in a new direction.
It didn't do anything for the people making the masks.
Can you be sure? People wanted to collect them. No one stopped Africans from making masks or using them.
There you are, it was racist.
Couldn't agree more, but at the same time, wonderfully confused.
People were calling it primitive art. You wouldn't dare do that now. Come on, Camilla, this was all part of discovering the noble savage. It's art, not as we know it. Wonderfully exotic, outlandish. How does that make you feel?
Touché. Yeah, that makes me angry.
It was arrogant and condescending.
It certainly was. Don't anyone today dare label the work as primitive. It makes me angry the same way history was taught to us at school. We gave you the benefits of civilization, and finally, we gave you independence. No, we had our own civilization. We fought to be free, after you got rich, exploiting us and our resources.
That is what the board is saying. We will not exploit your cultural resources.
Except, I like the fact that people find other cultures vibrant, interesting, different, creative, that they look beyond their own.
Which is why we have always put on a diverse programme.
And why I come to you. But I don't want the diverse pieces to be curious, like the bronzes.
We have never presented a play in those terms.
But that is where this is going. And why for me, I say go ahead, borrow the ideas, provided that in bold you recognise where they come from. I want people to start to look and think again.
Wait though, do outsiders ever see these things in the same way? No, they see it as art. The masks, for example, were used in religion and cultural things used in ritual.
And of course, Western art has nothing like that.
It is past. Okay, mostly.
So your own art gets reinterpreted, or shall we say, culturally appropriated? It's not what the original creators intended.
We are the inheritors. It's our culture.
It's a mishmash. Come on, there's just endless examples. Jazz. Half the vocabulary of the English language is made up of loan words from other languages.
Oh, well, so that means you can just dismiss all the current concern.
Like I said, let's look again. Let's think this out. See, if you take these ideas to their logical conclusion, you have to say, Helen is a woman, so she mustn't write male characters.
No one is saying that.
Maybe not yet, but just wait. That's a fatal weakness of this idea. Choose Wind in the Willows for your panto, and you better look for real rats and toads in the spotlight.
You can't just ridicule it. It's a straightforward idea. If it's not your culture, you've no right to tell the story.
Why not if you do it so well? When Helen got her award, one local critic said there was a lesson for everyone. Everyone there to learn from her play.
Are you sure?
It's in print. But let's get down to the underlying problem. Appropriation is distraction. It's the surface. Underneath, this is all about racism.
But doesn't that mean appropriation is a form of racism?
Steady. Think about the things we've just been talking about. In itself, cultural appropriation is normal. It's historical. It can go both ways. I want to borrow, dye my hair blonde if I want. The real problem is systemic racism and the exclusion that goes with it.
Well, isn't that what people are saying?
No, they're saying no borrowing on any account. And my point is, that won't get them what they really want. What they mean is, they're writers who want to be heard, painters who want to be seen, like every other writer, painter or performer.
One way to do that surely is to say you cannot tell my story.
No, that keeps me in my ghetto. We want equal opportunities. Whatever the work, the people creating it should be as diverse as the people in the community. We want to be included.
That's what we're aiming for.
I hope so, but you'll miss the target if you take a symptom of being in a minority for the cause. You can borrow the cornrows, but don't think you can exclude me and ignore me.
Well, why not hold on to what is yours?
I grew up here. What's mine includes Jane Austen and Ms. Dynamite, as well as cornrows and Jack Chicken.
Fine, but
I won't say you can only write about what you know and where you come from. What I mean is, you can write about me, provided I'm able to do the same. What I don't want is you doing it instead of me, distorting my story.
most of the time people will fall into stereotypes and cliches.
If every aspiring writer is having their work seen, It won't be easy to get away with shoddy work. I'm concerned you're forgetting about imagination, empathy, creativity and understanding.
Okay, but if I write about you, who's to say I've got it right?
In the theatre, first of all will be the artistic directors, with diverse boards, creatives, cast and crew. Emphasis on diverse. And then ultimately the community, the audiences, critics.
And how do they judge that?
What I just said. It's what every writer has to do. Have the empathy and understanding to portray other people. Create credible characters and situations.
Even if they're from a community that's not their own?
Writers have always done it. You need to get as deep inside my experience as you can, so no stock characters. I want this real effort of understanding. I want you to find the real me, so I no longer question my self-worth. I want to recognise myself, feel included.
How do I do that?
Helen has. I'd hope all of them. If you can't, don't do it. However, my aim is to have all sorts on stage, so people take the effort to get to understand different people and come to see them as human beings like themselves with 99 point whatever of it is of their genes in common.
Very laudable.
Tell me, why do people come to your theatre?
All sorts of reasons.
Some of which I hope are to be challenged, to get them thinking.
They're in there.
So when my story is told, it won't be filtered through some kaleidoscope which excuses your part of the present. It won't be a part of the myth that affirms who's top dog and masks what really happened. You can have slave traders in the story, but let's be clear about what they were doing.
Sure.
Come on, admit it. All this needs to be talked about. Here's a suggestion. Why not put Helen's play on as part of the debating the issue? Have a Q&A.
What, have people talk about this?
Diverse audiences, young people. You're always saying how you want to draw them in.
There are a lot of young people saying no to cultural appropriation.
Sure, young people are pissed off and rightly. You like my music, you want my food, you take my slang, but you don't accept me. You don't see me as a fellow human being.
It's a pound a cake.
You will have to put a lot of thought into organising it, but get it right, and I think you could have something that people would remember.
The night they pull the theatre down.
No! The night you didn't chicken out started us really talking and thinking and getting to grips with this.
We couldn't.
Simon, don't disappoint. How about I talk to your board? Tell them they need to be woke.
I don't think we're allowed to use that word.
Otherwise, I do what any agent's supposed to do.
Wait a minute. Do you really think someone would touch it?
I'd better go on.
Just a moment. You're saying pair a play with the debate?
Yes! You've given me a great idea, thank you.
You think someone would do this?
That is confidential.
Who'd speak at the debate?
I can think, wait and see, I can think of a couple of people. I know, I'll have to be careful, it's controversial.
Bring us the proposal.
I'm duty bound to put it out.
Please. Okay, I said no. I have my doubts. But I also trust you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. I've been thinking a lot. I needed to talk this through.
You got me thinking now. Come back, please.
Give me a week.
I'll start softening them up.
Sounds good.
Right, send us an email and we'll fix a time. We'll get you back on stage here.
Wearing our masks like the ancient Greeks.
Comedy or tragedy?
I'll look for the right design. One that doesn't mask the real me.
Point taken.
One that says,